Business owners say they are hopeful about the future of the Grand Lucayan property. Tribute paid to a tourism pioneer. And an all-points bulletin issued for a murder suspect.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all, I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping the news, there is overwhelming support tonight for the government's decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan property. Business owners in the neighboring Port Lucayan marketplace are applauding the decision. They believe it could be the beginning of a much-needed economic turnaround in Port Lucayan. Italia Hall has the story.
Our ZNS News team visited the Port Lucayan marketplace and spoke with business owners to get their take on the government's decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan Resort. While most say they are encouraged by this new deal and hope that business picks up soon in the area.
It's encouraging, very encouraging, and we are looking forward.
I think it'll be easier for them to find a buyer who will take on the property and do what needs to happen for this area.
I think Hutchinson's haven't been the best people to deal with. They have a lot of leverage on the island, so you can't strong-arm them. But I think this is a step in the right direction, just getting it out of their hands.
I think Port Lucayan will have a big boost because we don't have no nightlife in Port Lucayan.
Now, the Corner Bar has been a part of the Port Lucayan marketplace for over 20 years. Lorenzo Forbes says he's pleased with the government's decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan Resort.
With the government taking over the new hotel, I hope that it stimulates the Port Lucayan and the whole Freeport district as a whole. And we hope for bigger and better things to come.
While head bartender at Rum Runners Edison Bain says they too are looking forward to more business.
I think that revenue and business will increase because of the hotel occupancy. We need that, airlifts. So I'm excited. I'm hoping this happens kind of quick because we've been sitting a little while waiting for something to happen. I'm very excited about that.
John Heath, the owner of John Heath Jewelry Store, says he recently had to close one of his stores in Port Lucayan and combine everything in one location. So this new move gives him hope.
It's not anything that I think the government wanted to do, and for sure government should not be running hotels. But we all have to do what we have to do to keep people employed, to stay in business.
The Grand Bahama Cooperative Credit Union just opened their doors in the marketplace this week. Operations Supervisor Kimberly Russell says they believe that there is a lot of potential in the area.
Now with the purchase, there's an opportunity. There's opportunity for work, there's opportunity for growth, and we want that message to resonate, and that's why we're here.
Colombian Emeralds has been a part of the Port Lucayan marketplace for some 40 years and also had a location in the Grand Lucayan Resort, but was forced to close their doors after Hurricane Matthew. HR and Marketing Assistant Monique Ewing says they are suffering.
The government's decision to purchase the our Lucayan Strip would mean that we would get different investors to come in and just a little bit of opinion, hopefully that they break it up and they can sell it off to different hotel chains. That would make it more feasible and more attractive.
Now the nation's leader is expected to provide more information on the deal in the House of Assembly next month. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Italia Hall.
Now, merchants in the market square aren't the only ones celebrating the government's decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan property. Straw vendors are elated as well. The vendors in Port Lucayan depend on tourism traffic to make a living, and they say after many years of struggle, they're now hoping that better days are ahead.
We ain't gotta go to nobody no more. That's our hotel now. Yeah. The Grand Bahamian Hotel now.
Vendors Sylvia Larimore Major and Antoinette Smith say they are extremely grateful that the government has made the decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan. They say they anticipate that the reopening will bring greater economic opportunities.
It is not just for the straw vendors, but all the shop owners here will benefit from that purchase, and it will put people to work. And I thank God for it. You know, we here in Grand Bahama, a lot of people in the Bahamas saying that's the wrong move, but we wearing the shoes, the hard shoes. We are the one who have to pay the bills, and now that he purchased that, it gives us a chance to make money and to put people to work.
it's nice to know that the government has purchased the hotel so that I can feed and put my child through school, you know, and for us as entrepreneurs to make money, because it was really rough. Right now we don't really have no carnival ships, and that's what we were depending on, that because of the hotel closed. But now that we know, even though we know it's going to take a process for it to, you know, to be completed and fully operational, at least we know hope is there.
For the naysayers, Smith says that they are on the outside looking in and do not understand the struggles of those directly involved in the tourism sector on Grand Bahama.
See, the persons on the outside who are complaining, they're not a cab driver, they don't know what it's like. So when I heard that the government was buying it, I was all for it, because I'm tired of the tourists coming, oh, what happened to the hotel? When is it, you know, why is it? And you have no answer. So now I know I can put bread on the table for my family.
Both of the vendors say that since the closure of the hotel in October of 2016, business has been terribly slow and inconsistent. According to the straw vendors, the overnight guests that stay in the hotel purchase much more from the straw market.
We wouldn't have to depend just on no ship. The ship people are not spending the monies like how the people who coming into the hotel, they are the big spenders. Yesterday I made $30. Today we have 3 boats in, and I haven't hit $50 yet.
Hopefully that the sale already gone through and all works out to our best, and I can start making monies. Because today I had made $8 and I ate with that. So even though the ships coming in is still rough, but when you see the flow of tourists, like she said, we had 2 shifts. I had 2 shifts. Now by 3 o'clock I just be gone.
Both vendors add that they look forward to the completion of the renovations and the reopening of more rooms and amenities at the Grand Lucayan Resort. Now, the Minister of State for Grand Bahama was among the cabinet ministers joining the Prime Minister on the tour of the Grand Lucayan property on Wednesday. While the government has taken the initial step to take over the property, Minister Thompson says the search is on for a suitable buyer. Now, cabinet ministers also took time out to visit the abandoned Royal Oasis Resort that was an anchor property for the island until it was damaged by the twin storms of 2004. Italia Hall has more.
The Minister of State for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, says the tour and the purchase of the Grand Lucayan Resort is an important step for Grand Bahama and the tourism product. While he accepts that some Bahamians have different views on the government's decision, he says the exercise was crucial for all of the ministers to get a first-hand view of the resort property.
I think it was even more important for the ministers and the Prime Minister to see the Port Lucayan area and to see the connection between the hotel and the Port Lucayan area, which really is the hub for tourism in Grand Bahama right now. And to be able to speak to the straw vendors and the taxi drivers and to the restaurant owners for their views to be heard.
In the meantime, he says the government will continue to search for a qualified buyer.
We are also looking for qualified Bahamians who will be provided with an opportunity to also have a stake and have ownership in our tourism product, have ownership in this industry.
While in Grand Bahama, cabinet ministers also had an opportunity to visit the former Royal Oasis Hotel property and the neighboring International Bazaar.
Seeing the Royal Oasis was evidence of why it was so important for the government to make that necessary step. It was not a step that any government would have wanted to do, but it was a necessary step to be able to prevent the Port Lucayan and to prevent the Grand Lucayan to become another bazaar and become another Royal Oasis.
He says the government recently formed a task force, which includes the Grand Bahama Port Authority and all of the relevant government agencies, to focus on dilapidated buildings in the business sector.
A number of them are breaking the law. A number of them are health hazards. A number of them are eyesores. And we want to be able to systematically address them. which includes buildings like the Royal Oasis. It includes structures like the Bazaar, Xanadu, Casa Bahama, and a number of other commercial buildings.
But as it relates to the Grand Lucayan Resort, the minister says there is still more work to be done, and he believes the government's intervention provides hope for Grand Bahamians. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Natalia Hall.
A man who has made a significant contribution to the development of tourism on Grand Bahama has passed away. Former Director General David Johnson was a pioneer in tourism and led the charge in making the Bahamas a destination of choice. Johnson led the local tourism office for several years and is credited for helping to shape Grand Bahama's tourism image. Tonight, a former colleague is paying tribute to Johnson, a legend in tourism.
David was more than my right hand. David was tourism for Grand Bahama.
Former chairman of the Grand Bahama Island Tourism Board, Willie Moss, reflecting on the life and career of the late David Johnson, Director of Tourism in the Ministry of Tourism. Moss says that Johnson championed the cause of tourism, promoting the unique qualities of Grand Bahama, which attracted tourists to this northern island.
It was his initiative to ensure that the entire island was included in all of the promotions that were done during his time in Grand Bahama as first, I think, as Executive Vice President of the Grand Bahama Island Tourism Promotion Board. And then when I came on board, it was obvious that David knew more about tourism than any of us all put together.
Moss says that Johnson was instrumental in attracting both air and sea companies to the island. She says that he had relationships with any and everybody that could bring tourists to the island.
His friendships have been responsible for so much and contributed so greatly to what we have experienced in Grand Bahama. And he kept us afloat, very much so. During those years when we had those hurricanes, I've been to meetings with him, with Lehman Brothers about driftwood. I've been to meetings with him about branding the island. Anything that he could do to bring tourists to Grand Bahama, he did. And so, yes, he had relationships and he was responsible for a lot of the cruise ships that were coming in and the calls that were made, the celebration, the discovery. And he was also responsible for the initiatives for airlift to the island because the spend of the tourists who come by air is much greater.
Moss says that Johnson's death will indeed leave a great loss on the island and throughout the country.
I wish he didn't go so soon because there were so many other plans that he had for Grand Bahama and so many plans that we had for after we both would have retired, you know. It's just going to be a very sad time, and it's a loss that we will all feel. But David shared all that he knew and all that he had with all who were willing to receive. And so I am certain that there will be somebody or several persons who will evolve now to fill the space and to take up the baton.
David Johnson passed away at the age of 67 following a battle with colon cancer. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Stay with us. There's more news right after this break.